Everybody, it's Claire here from Sewn by Claire, and please excuse all of the glam, but I'm going out later to meet some friends for a meal, and I just thought if I put off any longer making a quick update video for you, then I just thought it's never going to get done because either my hair's not right, or what I'm wearing's not right, or it's too hot, too cold, whatever. So I thought, grab the opportunity. I was ready a few minutes early, and I thought I'd pop online just to say a quick hello to you all and to let you know what's been going off, because I for one can't believe that we're already in July. And now how's that happened? I really don't know. And this year has been a really interesting one for me, because whilst I've been really busy in real life, that has meant that it's been very quiet for you guys, and I really would like to apologise for not being around as much as I have been recently over the last couple of years. And especially to all my new followers, because there's still new followers joining me every week, and I really want to say a big thank you for joining me and for subscribing to my channel, even though there haven't been any or many videos out recently. So we started the new year quite well, really, didn't we? In terms of, I had quite a few videos out and I was on a roll, and then we needed to pop back to the UK. We had a property that needed to be sold that was tenanted, and we gave ourselves a short window to get over, do a quick bit of tarting up, as we call it in the UK, or freshening up, and then pop it on the market. Jobs are good and everything's all sorted. Well, it didn't quite go to plan. So the original 2 weeks, the first half of it was waiting for the tenants to move out. Although they'd been given notice, they decided they didn't want to move out straight away, so we had to wait for that. So that meant that we couldn't get the refurb work started that we wanted to do, and we got quite a narrow sort of 10 days that we thought was going to be plenty for doing that. And unfortunately what happened was that when we actually got possession of the property back again, then it needed a lot more doing to it than we realised. So my husband Rob and I worked flat out in the sort of 7 days that we got left by the time everything got sorted out, in order to do as much as we can, but it soon became really obvious that we weren't going to be able to get it all finished. So then Easter happened, and of course, because we live in Spain, for those that don't know, I'm an English expat living in southern Spain on the Costa del Sol. So over the public holidays, the flight prices rise, and so the flight prices for us to come back again were extortionate, or if we'd have stayed on, then the accommodation costs whilst we're over to do it all would have been extortionate as well. So anyway, we took a break, but we were so exhausted because we're just not used to doing that amount of physical work. It was really, you know, we got there, I mean, we're not early risers, as I've probably told you before. We got there about 9:30, 10 in the morning, but then we were still there at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So we did that for the full 7 days, just non-stop. And of course, there's so much lifting and getting up and down, so our bodies really objected to all of that physical exercise as well. So by the time we came back here for Easter in Spain, we were absolutely exhausted. We took 2 to 3 weeks off, and then we then went back again, and we then went back for a fortnight, and we spent the full fortnight right up until the last minute getting everything finished. So even on the morning that the estate agent came in order to give us the valuation and then to put it on the market, I was using the sealant gun to seal around the sinks in the sink in the kitchen, and around the vanity unit in the downstairs toilet. So yeah, it was a complete change for what we normally do, and we're not renovators by any imagination, but stretch of the imagination, but we really did enjoy it actually. I think there's something about taking yourself out of your normal day-to-day activities and trying something new that is really quite rewarding, and yes, exhausting, and again, you know, our muscles ached and our bodies objected, but we ploughed on, and I'm so grateful. I mean, a special shout out to Robson James and his wife Sarah, because they were absolute stars coming over to help us, and we stayed with them for part of the second time as well, and they were absolute stars in getting meals ready for us, in order that once we got in and kind of collapsed in the chair, a meal was placed in front of us, and you know, that was really lovely of them to do that. So a big shout out to them for that. So really grateful. And also my dad came over to help as well, so that's good. So in actual fact, this Father's Day I did a card for him. Well, I found a card and it just said, if Dad can't fix it, it's broken. And my dad's very much like that. he's butcher by trade, or was, now retired, but yeah, absolute star for just a very, very practical mind, and putting things together. So I'm really, really grateful to him as well for helping with that. And then during that time, for those that followed and watched these update videos before, my mum had her first knee replacement operation back in March. What year are we now? 24. So she had that done in May 23. She had that done. And then they contacted her over Christmas, and then booked her in for having her second one done. You've guessed it. It was the same time that we were already booked over to go to the UK for that first week or 10 days of those renovations. So whereas normally I'm the one in the family who's, yeah, I'll look after mum, don't worry about it, I know you guys have all got to work because I'm one of 5, then, you know, you lot are all at work still, and okay, I'm lucky enough to not be working at the moment, having to go out to a job. So I'll do the lion's share, and that's certainly what happened last time I came over for the first 10 days. I think that mum had her operation in May 23, and did all of that hands-on while she was getting up to speed again. However, I couldn't do that this time, and it was really interesting because, you know, because I think the expectation was there that I would be able to do more, and even though I tried to handle that as best as I could, and let people know that I wasn't available and that I'd be there in an emergency, or I could step in if nobody else could do anything, then my priority had to be getting a house ready and getting it sold. So unfortunately that caused a little bit of stress, which is really not thinking, what's the word, oh gosh, I've forgotten the word, my brain's just gone. It was really difficult and challenging really to navigate that. So unfortunately some feathers got ruffled, and you know, that can be difficult with families, can't it? I don't quite understand, but anyway. So anyway, that happened too, so that didn't help. And then following mum having the operation, which is now 15 weeks ago, then she's been in severe pain in her groin and her hip. Now, we're trying not to say that while she was on the table being operated on that she was tweaked a certain way and that's what's caused it, but I think it might be. She has been in severe pain anyway, to the extent now that so 15 weeks on, she's now been put on the urgent list, priority list, for a full hip replacement as well. So bless her, within 18 months, well, depending on when she gets this next one done, there's a strong possibility that she'll have had 2 knees replaced and a hip replaced, and she's got problems with the back. So there's just a few bits that I still need to navigate through there, because I have said that I will be back to my normal form, and I will be there to help her when she has her hip replaced, so I will go over and help and do that. So, you know, I'm not out of the woods yet really with time. Also during that time, Rob has retired, so that's a change within our family as well. So whereas before I could use my time for sewing, my sewing time, and videoing and recording, then because Rob was working and he worked from home and he was a computer programmer, so he's able to do all of that kind of thing, then unfortunately, since he's retired, which he stopped really working around about the end of March, then again it's given us more free time. And you know, what do you want to do when you've retired? Do you want to travel? You want to be out? Do you want to be doing things? So that's kind of hit on time as well. And I know that it's going to, I'm not asking for pity, I'm not asking, it's not a pity party, don't worry about that, but it's just a bit of an explanation as to how sometimes when you're, I'm going to say, a content creator for the internet, it can be really difficult for you guys because you don't see any of this happening behind the scenes. And you know, I'm not somebody who wants to overshare. I know I've given you a lot of detail now, but you've been really patient, and I wanted just to sort of put some meat on the bones as to why we've not been able to do the things that we have, that I've been doing previously, because I just haven't been around for the time. We also started to learn how to play paddle, so of course that takes out half a day. We're learning more Spanish because obviously we've been here 5 years now, and the intention is to stay here permanently. So again, within that, you need to protect yourself for the future, and you need to learn the language. You know, we're immigrants in another country, and what would be the first thing that we would say is we'd say, well, they need to learn the language. So we do, and it's actually it's fun, but it's quite challenging actually, to understand all the little nuances and to be able to speak. And I've got some phrases down, and I can manage in a lot of situations, but I need to get better so that, you know, if we had a medical emergency or we, you know, needed to sort something out, then we've got the language skills that we can manage. And the trouble is that where we are in the Costa del Sol, you actually don't need to speak that much Spanish, because it's very expat heavy, and also because it's quite an international area. Then the common language that a lot of people will speak, because, you know, the Spanish learn English sort of right from very young age, but also if you think about it, a lot of the pop culture and a lot of the songs that they listen to on the radio and sing along with possibly are in English too. So, you know, we're listening to Spanish radio to try and get our ears tuned into the language, which is one of those tips that we've had. But in order to actually pick it up, well, for other people to pick it up, you know, they're listening to the radio, they're singing along with the songs, their tongue already works in the way that they need to, they can form the right sounds, and that's sort of one of the things you've got to, you know, I've had 56 years of saying things a certain way, and now I've got to think a different way in order to speak. So it's one of the challenges, but one of the thrills, because actually I'm really quite enjoying it. But so we've set that up, we set up a group for people to go and to learn. That's on a Friday afternoon. I did think it was perfect time for cocktails afterwards, but not that we do that actually. I thought, oh yeah, finish in the local town, 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, we'll go straight into a glass of wine and a meal out, and it'll be lovely. But yeah, chores just seem to get in the way. I think we've been shopping and we've been off to do something else, and so life just doesn't work out the way that you've planned it sometimes, does it? So I suppose really I'm just trying to give you up to date as to what was. Oh, the other thing that I've done is I've set up a stitching group as well for Age Concern as well, which is active in the local area, and we meet once a month in a hall, and we've got some lovely ladies who go along to that, and there's one or two who have reintroduced themselves to sewing, to knitting. One is learning how to sew, somebody else is learning, 2 or 3 are learning how to crochet actually. That's a really popular craft for people to pick up on. I'm not a huge crocheter, I know the basics, but I'm not a huge crocheter. So my friend Camille is helping me, and she's a fabulous crocheter. So when she's around, unfortunately she has to travel backwards and forwards as well, a bit like I do sometimes, and so we try to cover for each other, but it just means that sometimes when people want the crochet help, then I'm not always good enough to help, but I do my best anyway, and so far we haven't had any complaints. So of course that's another once a month thing as well, but it's surprising how quickly that once a month comes round. But again, really enjoyable, just a couple of hours in an afternoon, and it's certainly, I can see it's certainly giving a social outlet to some people who attend. There's one lady whose husband's got Parkinson's, and she struggles to get out and do things for herself, so she's loving it at the moment. She's one of the crocheters. And then there's another lady, I think she's 92, I haven't asked her, but I think somebody has hinted that she's 92, so she's coming along and she's just started knitting again, so she's knitting herself a cardie, and enjoying that. But yeah, it's just nice how, you know, the word stitches sort of spans such a wide range of disciplines, doesn't it? You know, knitting, crochet, you can know, even perhaps lace making, felting, you know, there's so appliqué and all those kind of quilting and dressmaking and toy making that we all enjoy as well. And those things that happen can unite us. So, you know, we're different age groups, from, you know, from different countries in some cases, but that love of stitching just brings us together and just helps move us forward. So I'm really thrilled to be involved in all of that, but unfortunately that's part of the real life that then takes me away from you guys and from filming content, because as I've tried to explain before, you know, it takes me longer to explain how to make something than it does just to make it. But then when I'm filming as well, I've then got to watch everything through again in order to edit it, and then I've got to upload it. So that again takes time when you're sitting, you know, and I want to be active as well. You know, I find that stitching's quite a sedentary, isn't it? I need to work out a way of being able to dance and do a bit of a boogie, I think, while I'm editing, because otherwise you know, my feet sometimes don't move, and I know in the evening sometimes anybody else's ankles swell under their desk? I don't quite know what's happened, but especially with the heat over here, then that can happen, and that's unfortunate that you know, the one of the effects of sitting for a long length of time. And I don't know if you've got one of those watches that beeps at you when you've not been active for a while, but you know, that's important for us to keep moving, isn't it, as well. What else have I got to tell you? I have been seeing my granddaughter Clementine, and we had her, she's nearly 3, she'll be 3 at the end, towards the end of August. I made her a lovely little sundress, and I enjoyed that. And that's a quick and easy make, so that's one that I've got earmarked for a tutorial in the future. It was a free pattern as well by Violet Field Threads. I did post about it in the group, so if you're in the group, the Facebook group, you'll have seen that. And I've also been trying to do some more work on Clementine's Christmas quilt, because generally last 2 years anyway, I've done a special feature, Christmas in July, and I really like the actual tag that it is, because I think it does start us to think about what we're going to be making for personalised gifts for Christmas. And it's, I think sometimes we forget how long it actually takes us to make these things, and I know that we enjoy every stitch. There's never a swear word, there's never any cross thoughts at all with making anything for anybody else, but you know, those things have to be finished, and if we want it to be a handmade gift, then we have to allow time in with real life, and that takes time too. However, this year, normally I've got everything all recorded in advance, and I can just slot them all in, and we're all ready, and I can be recording more while we're taking. I'm really sorry it didn't happen this year. I've got firm hopes for next year, so we'll carry on with that. But the reason why I've sort of came onto that from thinking of Clementine is that I'm making her Christmas quilt, and I've been working on some of the blocks for that. I'll pick 1 or 2 up if you want to just have a quick look, because that's quite a nice project. But I know it's not, you know, people are going to say Christmas in July, but if we don't get started, they don't get made. But there's a couple of videos on my channel anyway. There's one for the Advent Calendar, and there's also, what else did I do Christmas in July? The Advent Calendar is really, really popular. People love watching that video. And last year I did something else. Do you know what, my brain? Honestly, I can't remember what it was. Somebody's going to be shouting at the screen in a minute, and if I go back and look, oh, it's the Festive Friends, wasn't it? I've just looked up and seen them on my shelf. It was the Festive Friends for Luna Lapin. So we did those last year, I think it was, and thanks to Anne Heldeus, who sponsored the kit for me for those, because you know, that was a really very, very generous of her to do that. But they're, you know, they're lovely, and I know that people have enjoyed seeing how to make those and what to do. Let me just get the quilt blocks for Clementine, and I'll just show you those quickly. It's not a big show and tell video because I need to get out soon, but I just thought I'd show you. So I've got them on this clippy coat hanger. This is block 1, I think. Let me just pop them on the desk, and then I'll be able to hold them up to show you. So this is block. So this is an appliqué quilt. These are the individual blocks. There's going to be 9 in total. I've completed 6, and I'm working on the 7th one. And then you put them together in a grid and put some borders on, and then you add the in between, the wadding bit in between, and the backing fabric, and then you quilt through it all together. So still quite a lot to do, but so that's block number 1. This one is called I Believe in Angels, and it's an appliqué project. You can use any form of appliqué you like. I'm doing needle turn appliqué for the smaller shapes, and I'm using Lori Holt's method, where she uses a non-fusible interfacing for the larger block shapes. So this is block 2. So you can see those little candy canes and little angels sticking out. This is block 3. We've got some snowmen. So these are all appliqued on and then embroidered just to enhance the little angels have got curly hair and things like that. So that's block 4, I think, isn't it, with the basket? Bring that forward, you can see some of the embroidery details, that curly hair look. So cute. So that's 4. This is 5, which is some presents. So these are a bit creased now, these ones are, so apologies, I've not pressed those yet. Oh, actually, this is blocks number 1. The other one, I must have started on block 2, but that's actually block 1 with the Christmas tree and the angel in front. So, so I have been sewing behind the scenes, but actually my sewing mojo has gone, my sojo as they call it, has gone a little bit as well. I have made my dress that I'm wearing, which is you'll have seen this before with the frills around the sleeves. It's a peony dress, and it's in a lovely viscose, so I've made that. And I've been doing lots of alterations for my husband as well. So he's had 5 pairs of shorts altered, 2 pairs of trousers, and I've just done 3 shirts as well that needed a good 2 inches taking out each side, so taking out a panel out, that sort of like stripped down each side, and then taking it all in, and then we had to readjust the hems. So that's quite a lot of work. And then also, because I'm sort of known in the local expat community really with my friends as being a sewist, then I get asked to do jobs for them as well. So I've been inundated with that as well. So I think I haven't been able to catch my breath this year yet, it feels like. And you know, I don't know how your year has been and whether it's a universal thing or whether it's just me being unorganised, but I didn't used to be unorganised, so excuse my hair, it keeps flipping in my eyes. I'm trying to get it curly, look, can you see? It's going a little bit curlier, but I'm trying to get it, it's lots of scrunching going on. It's just trying to find time just to, as well, just to sit down and just to not do a lot, because, you know, we live in a nice place. I should be sitting in the sun a little bit more. I do take a vitamin D supplement because I don't sit in the sun as much as I should do. And then we've done a bit of travelling. We went to Cadiz last weekend. We came back on Thursday. So went to Cadiz and to Magazon Ayamonte, which is just south of the Portuguese border. We didn't go into Portugal, but just south of, and then back to Jerez, which is known for its sherry capital. So we've done a little bit of travelling. I know in September we're going to do a bit more, but in Jerez it was 38 degrees on the final day, and in the end we had breakfast in the hotel and we just said, do you know what, let's just go home, because it was only supposed to be 26 degrees at home being in Spain. Yeah, it was just so hot and clammy you couldn't walk out, you couldn't go and appreciate all the lovely architecture and all the lovely balconies and the cathedrals and the beautiful place. I know the cathedrals tend to be cool once you're inside, but getting to them is really quite hot and sticky. And although we've got lots of sun cream and we wear sun hats and what have you, it still does make it quite a hot job. So yeah, in the end we just cut our losses. We were anyway for 3 or 4 nights, I think, and then came back again. But it was really nice just to get away, because we don't actually, because going back to the UK to see family and friends tends to be our sort of travel money spent, if you like, then we don't often sort of go away on a full holiday ourselves. So it's a bit different, I think, when you live somewhere where it's sunny, because as Rob said, normally you travel to go and get some sun and get away from work. Well, we're retired now, in theory, and you know, we've got sun when we want it. So you know, it's again like that, but I'm not complaining, I really am not. And as I said, this isn't a pity party, it's just about how things are different when you live in a different country and the things you have to think about. You know, we're having to sort out the tax situation and the finances, and now that we're retiring as well. And so there's just been so much. So really, I'm going to round it up now, because otherwise I'm just going to repeat myself, and we know I like to repeat myself, but you probably don't want to listen to me do it. So I'm just going to say that I hope that everything's okay with you. I want to say a really big thank you to you for your patience if you have stuck around waiting for some new videos. There are going to be some new videos. I've got those 3 kits at least of Lily Rose dolls to do. I've got Lily and the Lamb, I've got Byron the Highland Cow, and I've also got Henrietta Hedgehog, I think, her clothes to make as well for her. So I did the male hedgehog, but I hadn't done the female hedgehog's clothes. So I think those will be done in that order. And I just haven't had it in me to even open up the kits. But last night, anybody else get up in the middle of the night and sew? I started on my husband's alterations last night, finished them off today. But during that time I just thought, oh, if I get these done, I can have a look in the kit. And I just thought, you know, when your mojo goes, you need something just to sort of get you started. And I've been waiting to make Lillian for so long, but I think I've got some time coming up. I've got a busy week this next week, so just cut me some slack for this next week. I've got gynae appointments. Anybody not going for their gynaes, that means it's going to lead on to mammogram as well. All of those really important things. I've also got the dentist as well, so I've got to go to that as well. So I think I go through fits and starts where I started to organise it all at one time, and then all the appointments and all the follow-ups all come together then. So I need to get that sorted. So once I've got those all out of the way, and I think Rob's got a couple of jobs to do around the house that he needs to get sorted as well. So I think that is actually going to give me some time to get some sewing done for you guys. Well, it's not just sewing, it's the filming. It's having the peace and quiet when nothing else is going on in the urbanisation, because I live in an apartment, so upstairs, downstairs can always be making noises, or the leaf blowers on outside. And if you live in Spain, you know the Spanish gardeners love their leaf blowers. So yeah, so you know what I'm saying, don't you? Yeah, so anyway. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for your patience. I really, really do appreciate every single one of you. I hope that you have been able to find plenty of previous content to keep you occupied and to keep you interested. For Christmas in July, please do have a look at the Festive Friends from Luna Lapin, but also the fabric quilted advent calendar with a little wooden discs that I put in, not just they're blocks, aren't they, for making little ornaments to put on the tree, because that's a really sweet project. And if you're new to quilting or fancy giving quilting a go, then that's a really good one to try. I have lots of plans, I just need to find time, which will come, just not immediately. So have a great day, everybody. Happy stitching. Enjoy yourselves, please do. Please let real life distract you as well from your best laid plans as well, in the positive way. Do get out and look at the flowers, feel the breeze, because it is a very easy to sit and just to stitch all day, isn't it? And not to get out and about as much as we should, and health comes first. So yeah, have a great day, everybody, and I will be seeing you very soon. I promise, I promise. So take care. Lots of love to you all. Bye.